over these next few minutes, I'm gonna share the 3 weird things I did back in 2024 to reduce my brain fog by at least 75% if I had to say. And these are things that I've continued to do every single day up until now. And the good news is, it doesn't require any cold showers or strange sleep rituals or exotic supplements from other countries. These are just simple practices you could do today. But first, let's get clear on why I did them and why you should do them as well. As you probably know, brain fog is a very common problem these days. The issue is that very few people actually do anything about it. We've accepted short attention spans and poor memories and the inability to think critically as the new normal. The thing is, I've seen firsthand how destructive brain fog can be when it goes unchecked for a very long time. And many of us, well, we've been dealing with it for a very long time. When I was dealing with brain fog at its worst back in late 2023, early 2024, I was always overthinking. I was heavily relying on caffeine, drinking like 5 cups of coffee a day, and I was always so scattered. I had a very difficult time making decisions. And along with all that, I'd start avoiding challenges. I would set these big goals, but then never actually end up doing anything to achieve them. And when you're always dealing with brain fog or mental fatigue, then you have this underlying stress. And when you have a bunch of stress pent up within your body and deep within your mind, then burnout is inevitable. It's not a matter of if it happens, it's a matter of when it's going to happen. And there's also this growing dependence on overstimulation. Your brain gets so used to being plugged in and looking up this and scrolling that and texting this person and watching this and reading that, that when you step away or when you try to step away, it's very difficult. Now look, this isn't happening because you lack intelligence or because you lack motivation or discipline. Brain fog is actually the expected outcome from following what other people have been doing for years and years and years. Because after all, our brains evolved to fit in with others. We're tribal creatures. We need a group, we need a society, we need a culture to fit into. Because in the past, when we did live in tribes, if you were kicked out for whatever reason, it was a very small chance you would survive on your own. Your survival depended on fitting in with the group. So knowing this, it made following the beliefs and the traditions and the behaviors of other people very crucial. Because if you were the black sheep of the group, doing things that other people didn't do, then you would become ostracized. Nowadays, the world is very different, but our brains, they're the same. So we subconsciously act in ways that imitate the behaviors of other people so that we feel like we fit in. We feel like we're socially accepted. You find yourself scrolling the same feeds and reacting to the same news day in and day out because if you don't, then that just seems weird. Other people look at you like, wait, you haven't seen this? Or wait, what's your opinion on this? And if you haven't seen that news or if you don't have an opinion on whatever it is they're discussing, then it feels weird. You feel lonely and even like you're missing out. Because after all, people need people. And we want to feel accepted. We want to feel like we're part of something bigger than us. And this is why it's so difficult to change your ways. Because the things that we do on a day-to-day basis cause bad brain fog. So subconsciously, those behaviors that lead to brain fog are reinforced. And we want to fit in, we want to be a part of the group, so why would we give up those behaviors? Whenever you find yourself on the side of the majority, it's time to pause and reflect. So at this point, we've discussed the social implications of trying to break through brain fog and what happens psychologically. But if you're somebody who's willing to dive in, somebody who's open and eager to developing this mental clarity that most people just don't have, then this is a sacrifice you'll make. You'll be okay with not watching that TV show everybody else is watching. You'll be okay with not feeding into that drama that everybody else is feeding into. But now the big question is, what can you do on a day-to-day basis to actually improve upon your mental capabilities like your attention span and your memory and your ability to focus? Here are the 3 things that I did back in 2024 and still continue to do every single day. Number 1 is scheduling time for nothingness. I know, this one sounds super weird. And when I first heard about it, I was like, why would I do that? But the thing is, we schedule everything in our lives. We have appointments. We're gonna be at work for a certain time. We schedule dates with people we're interested in. You might be wondering, okay, well, what's the benefit of this? Why would I want to do that? So there's this part of your brain called the default mode network. This is the system within your brain that makes sense of information that's just been sitting up there. And it does this behind the scenes or beneath the threshold of your awareness. Think of the default mode network kind of like the cleaning crew, the maids per se, at a hotel. They come in quickly, they clean up the room, they do what they gotta do, and then they very quickly and quietly exit out. Nobody really sees them. Nobody really pays them any attention, but they do their job and they do it very well. This is what the default mode network does. But the thing is, this part of your brain only activates when you do nothing. That's why I schedule time every single day to do nothing at all. Without this time, then your brain just never gets to process through all that extra information that's sitting up here. And since we're always so plugged in, we're always stimulated, few people actually take the time to do absolutely nothing with no sensory input at all. So even 5 minutes a day helps big time. Okay, the second and definitely most weird thing I do every single day is 10 minutes of single object focus. So I'll sit down and just stare at this one particular object, or maybe I'll just think of something within my mind. I'll become aware of all the details and just gain clarity on exactly the shape and the size and what that thing looks like. I focus all my attention on that one particular thing, and then whenever something comes to mind, like a random thought or a worry, I'll pay attention to it. I'll be like, okay, yep, I noticed that, and then I'll just let it pass me by, and then I'll recenter my focus on whatever that one thing is. One must learn to hold a thought firmly in the mind and not allow it to be driven out by others. I know, this sounds very extreme, and perhaps it is, but I found trying to fight against brain fog is very difficult. What's more effective, in my opinion, is strengthening my mental capabilities. So this means improving on my memory. This means making my attention span way longer. This means improving on my ability to focus. And when you do these things, naturally they overpower any kind of brain fog you had before. Your mental clarity is inevitable. It's much more effective to play the game of developing your mind versus resisting something that's trying to destroy your mind, which is brain fog. The third weird thing I do, and still continue to do to this very day, is being very strict with my social media. Look, I won't go on and on telling you to only watch these kind of videos or only read this kind of content, but just don't be mindless with your consumption, because we have smartphones and we have social media and all this information sitting right in our pockets 24/7. It's very hard to resist that. After all, social media was basically modeled after casinos. They know how to keep you hooked. They know how to keep you searching for that next hit of dopamine. The main thing I've done when it comes to using social media effectively and combating against brain fog is getting clear on why I'm opening the app every time I do it. At this point in my life, I don't just reach for my phone and unconsciously scroll through it. I'm very deliberate. And this takes time, this takes practice, but make it a very regular thing so that every time you open your phone, every time you're about to go scrolling through some app, you answer the question, okay, why am I doing this? What is my intention? What am I trying to get out of scrolling on this app? And when you can do that, and when you can be truthful with yourself when answering, you realize that most of the time you're just compulsively looking for that hit of dopamine. And the more often you do that, the less brain fog you have, because you're not acting compulsively. You're thinking critically, logically. Now look, people have a million different reasons why they say they deal with brain fog. Some people have legitimate ADHD. Some people have been through traumatic experiences, and I get it. That's all valid. But most of the time, and for most of us, perhaps if you're watching this video, it's probably because of years of choosing immediate gratification and quick dopamine and compulsively scrolling in ways that just destroys your ability to think. Because when you choose quick dopamine, when you choose immediate gratification, you're destroying your mental clarity. But you can choose differently. Just because 90 to 95% of other people are always plugged in, scrolling endlessly and getting caught up in this drama or that drama, doesn't mean you need to. Because these days your survival isn't at stake if you aren't a part of the collective. You can do things that are very different from many other people. It just takes a willingness to zig when everybody else zags. And these three weird things that I mentioned, they're a great place to start. So if you've been dealing with brain fog for a long time and you just don't know what to do, then check those out. Give them a try, because what else do you have to lose? They've been crucial in developing my ability to sift through the brain fog and actually think clearly and make proper decisions and focus intently with my work. And I'm very confident that they will do the same thing for you. So thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this, be sure to like the video and subscribe for more just like this. And if you're an entrepreneur or a busy professional who's always stressed out and overthinking and you just want to think clearly and operate at peak performance all the time, then be sure to book a one-on-one call with me down below in the description. Once again, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.